What's up, guys? Today we're going over 7 mistakes that I made last Q4 so you don't have to make them this Q4. The last one I'm going to go over was definitely the worst mistake I made. It really screwed up this year. Definitely not making that mistake again this year. The next video of ways to crush Q4 and kind of how I plan to do at least 50K in profit. But before we get into that, let's go over this list. If you're new to the channel, I teach people how to make money selling on Amazon. I've done close to $2 million in sales. I've sold books, and now I'm doing online arbitrage. So please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me so I can help you and others make money. Mistake number 1. I relied on past Keepa data on hot selling toys from last year or things that sold really well last year that were predicted to sell well like last year, like this Q4, and the data kind of didn't pan out. So one of the things you have to remember with Keepa data is it's in the moment. So when we were going through last year, there was still some pandemic stuff going on. There was supply shortage. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Stores had tons of inventory because of everything was backlogged. So much stuff was going on. So I bought a lot of stuff or trying to bet against Amazon, which I hate doing. Basically what you're doing there is you're saying, oh, last year Amazon went out of stock on this item, so I'm going to buy it, speculating that they go out of stock again. Now, with a caveat here, some people make a ton of money doing this. That's not what I want to do. Last year, I lost a bunch of money on that stuff, but I also don't specialize on that stuff. And I bought that stuff knowing that I could lose money on it. So I took the risk. I'm not blaming that strategy. It just didn't pan out, but just be wary of that. Just because it happened last year doesn't mean it's going to happen this year. There was a really, really hot item last year that I don't know if it will sell well this year, but I'm not betting tons of money that it will. I'm going to play my game and go after stuff that I think is the best fit for my business. Number 2, I spent way too much time trying to check out stores that limited items. There were some Lego sets for sure from Target and even Walmart. They're only letting you buy 1 at a time or 2 at a time, 3 at a time, and that adds up. It takes a ton of time. So for instance, if you bought 5 Lego sets at Target, by the time it's going to take you 20-30 minutes to get 5. And in Q4, kind of speed is king. That could also be kind of a moat, because a lot of people, like I just said, don't want to be doing multiple checkouts, because the more checkouts you do, especially with a site like Target or some other retailers, the more likely you are to get the order canceled or get flagged by them. So this year, I am not going to do any of that. I'm going to be shopping at stores that want money. If the opportunity is really, really good, I'm going to try to go in-store, get it, or place a in-store pickup order, go see if they have any more on the shelves, buy as much as possible in-store, and then get my order pick out and move out. At this point in time, I have a bunch of stuff that I could buy, and now that I'm a much better sourcer than I was a year ago, I have a inkling that I'm not going to have enough money to buy everything that I want anyway, so I'm not going to waste time doing that. Number 3, trusting my gut. Last year was one of my first Q4s being a full-time online arbitrage seller. Prior to that, I was doing books, but there were instances where the data looked good. I was like, I think this is going to sell a ton, but I don't know. Like, it looks really good, but I don't want to, and I was talking about buying 10 units, 5 to 10 units. So I should have bought 20 or 30 of these. So it was just kind of being new, being a little bit scared of kind of the price tanking or, putting too many eggs in one basket. I did have a decent amount of capital that I was spreading around, but it was more just what you're doing. Q4, I am a huge component of test buying, but Q4 is not the time to do that. I've been test buying all year long, testing to see, you know, does this stuff sell? What price points does it sell? And then I plan on going through all of that in the next video that I do with how to crush Q4. I'll go more into that strategy, but for the most part, stuff I bought 10 of, I should have bought 30, 40, 50 of, and I will be doing it this year. So trust your gut. If you know what you're doing, you know, that does not mean get a credit card and just swipe it hoping that things work out. That's not what I mean. If you've been doing this, you trust yourself, you could live with the downside, then go all in, go all out, and just go for it. Number 4. So there were some things talking about replens towards the end of Q4 that I was buying in Q4 that I pushed it a little too much. So what happened was there were some meltable items that I was selling. They were sold like crazy through November, December, and then late in December they went kind of on sale, like kind of clearanced it out, got it, bought a, like kind of didn't double down, but bought like 30, 40 of each, and the demand just died. So I replanned like one too many. So just keep that in mind. Yes, like meltables and stuff like that, most of it will sell all season long if you were able to send meltables in all season long, but the demand will die down. So if everyone has the same idea to buy it on clearance, and the problem was meltable season ends, don't quote me on this, maybe March, February or March. Definitely Google that. Do not take my word on that. So you can't keep it on Amazon. So you either have to take it back or tell them to dispose it. So in that case, for meltables, I would say that for like, you're gonna see Lego advent calendars go on massive discounts. They will not sell in January, where after Christmas is over. They will sell the following December most likely, but just keep that kind of stuff in mind. If you're buying like seasonal stuff, Christmas trees, ornaments that are being clearanced out, like just maybe think you may have to wait and sell them next year. Not a great buy and hold strategy. Buy something, hold it for a year. Usually, I mean, maybe Legos, it works, but for most stuff, it's not gonna go. So I did that. Number 5, I wasn't wide enough. So while Q4 is great for going deep and moving lots of units, in particular, I was very heavy on Nike. Very heavy on that. I was kind of just I wasn't very wide on it. And I would say 90%, 80-90% of my money was tied up in that brand. And it wasn't across that many ASINs either, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. In this case, it was a little of both. You know, stuff sold really well. I prepped it myself, so I was able to get it there early, but a ton of people caught on. I knew this was kind of a risk. It did work out just because of the items I was selling. They're a huge volume, but it made for a really stressful couple months just because, you know, you also have to realize too in your head, like if this stuff gets stranded, it gets lost, something happens, obviously you don't want to think that way, but you don't want 90% of your inventory in that boat. So while it did work out, I would have much rather been wider. There was so much stuff to buy, especially stuff that would not get returned, like apparel. I would have much rather focused on that stuff than kind of going all in on maybe like 10 different ASINs. So I will not be doing that this year. If you've been following along, I haven't really been selling any apparel, and I'm kind of totally diversified, which totally screwed up this year, but my business has never been stronger and it's never been more profitable. So I am glad I took the hit earlier on this year, and I cannot wait for this Q4 and the next year, because now I have an awesome solid plan in place. Number 6, I spent way too much time trying to find Lego sets. Now, Lego is amazing. I love Lego. I've never built a Lego set. I just like selling it. I don't know what it is about it. I just love selling it, and I love finding deals. So with Lego, there are a lot of deals out there, but I spent way too much time kind of just like searching on, you know, retailer websites, trying to find, you know, the set that wasn't on sale but is profitable on Amazon. And while it could have worked out, there was so much opportunity elsewhere that I could have spent my money on. And the name of the game is kind of speed in Q4. Like, yes, it's great to find those opportunities, but you shouldn't be or I'm not gonna say you shouldn't be. I would have had a much better chance at finding more profitable inventory that I could buy quicker and get to Amazon quicker than trying to find these like diamonds in the rough. There is plenty of stuff to buy. There's gonna be so many sales. Don't get kind of fixated on just one brand and thinking that, oh, all you could sell during Q4 is Lego or toys. That's not the case. I used to think that, and you could sell pretty much anything. Volume on Amazon goes up during Q4 for everything. So just keep that in mind. Don't get fixated on one thing or one site or one sale. If you're not finding anything within a reasonable time, move on to the next thing. Don't worry about it, or take a break and then go back to it. But there's a lot of opportunity out there, so just make sure to keep that in mind. Now, the last one and the most one that I screwed up last year, and that was I stopped spending money. So dumb. In around December-ish. So to give you a recap, I think I spent about, I was looking at this yesterday. It was like $40,000 in October, about 67-ish in November, and then I think I only spent like 20K in December. Part of that reason was I was freaking out, you know. Prior to November, the most I've ever spent on inventory was, I think it was like $30,000. So I basically doubled that. You know, I had this huge Amex bill and I was like, oh my God, like Amex called me. I was like, yo, you can't spend money anymore. I just kind of freaked out and kind of jammed on the brake. But that made for a very, very difficult beginning of this year, because as you know, if you stop spending money, your sales basically plummet. I had a great December, did 120K in sales, about 25K of that was profit. I have to go look back, but absolutely amazing. But my game plan, I will get into that in the next video, but I'll give you a little sneak peek, is to spend through December and maybe not spend anything in January. February was a really tough month to source. A lot of people stop, one, spending money, two, the sales kind of dry out. You know, it's just kind of how it goes. But just kind of, you know, knowing that you know what you're doing, kind of go, and again, be responsible, but spending heavy in November and December, keep going through December. And this is just in general. So like, I'm not saying I'm going to be buying Christmas stuff in December. It's more going to be like, continue to buy replans, continue to buy just normal stuff I'd buy anyway that's just on sale, and then letting kind of have a stockpile inventory to sell like in January, early February, and then kind of pick it up again in January-ish, take a little break. So that is what I have for you. Let's run through them really quick. Do not rely too much on old Keepa data. Don't spend too much time trying to check out items like one or two. Trust your gut. Don't go deep, go wide, not super deep. Don't continue to replan stuff if you know it's gonna kind of change and it's kind of seasonal. Don't spend too much time just focusing on one thing if you're not finding it. And lastly, do not stop spending money. It is Q4. This opportunity only comes once a year, obviously, but let me know what you think in the comments. Have you made these mistakes? What was your biggest takeaway? I would love to hear it. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Experiments, and download the price tank checklist. There'll be a link below for that. Totally free, so you can avoid price tanking this December. I will see you guys in the next video.